ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Jumping News. It's Adam22 here with my man's AD. Let's get right into these stories. All right, guys, so this is not a regular news day. We actually have a ton of really big stories. We got a crazy incident in which Tory Lanez is arrested with a gun and Meg Thee Stallion was apparently shot. Okay, and then we have Nick Cannon, a huge figure in hip-hop. He has been removed by VIACOMCBS after making some allegedly anti-Semitic comments. All that is going to get discussed today. Let's get into the first story. We got to talk about Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. All right, so Tory Lanez was hit with a gun charge during a night out with Meg Thee Stallion. An alleged altercation occurred outside of a Hollywood Hills home, which led to Meg and Tory getting in trouble with the police. So according to the reports, Tory was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon after police discovered a gun in his car. The video circulating on social media shared by World Stars shows Meg Thee Stallion being placed in handcuffs, still wearing her bikini during Tory's arrest. Now, initially it was reported that Meg suffered foot injuries from broken glass, although that does not seem to be the case. As she took to her Instagram to clarify the rumors, she said, "The narrative that is being reported about Sunday's morning events are inaccurate, and I'd like to set the record straight. On Sunday morning, I suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime that was committed against me and done with the intention to physically harm me. I was never arrested. The police officers drove me to the hospital where I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. I'm incredibly grateful to be alive and that I'm expected to make a full recovery, but it was important for me to clarify the details about this traumatic night. I'm currently focused on my recovery so I can return back to my life and back to making music as soon as possible." Now, one of Meg's producers threatened Tory in a now deleted tweet, telling him to count your in days. Well, Meg's best friend Kelsey also issued a statement on Instagram in a now deleted Instagram post, writing, "I want to clear up the rumors that I shot Megan. I wasn't the one with the gun, and I would never do something like that. However, I was present." A spokesperson for the LAPD told TMZ, "At the time Meg Thee Stallion was with the police, she did not report that she was the victim of any crime, and the LAPD has not received any additional information at this time." Well, both Meg and Tory have not spoken about what led to Tory's arrest or Meg being shot. Still, because Meg Thee Stallion had just shared video footage that showed herself with Kylie Jenner hanging by the pool that evening before, some people have taken to social media to target Kylie Jenner, trying to figure out what happened. All right, this is all I gotta say about this. Meg Thee Stallion got shot. Tory Lanez got arrested with a gun. We don't know who shot Meg Thee Stallion, and we don't know why Tory Lanez had a gun, but doesn't it stand to reason that Tory Lanez is the most obvious aggressor in this situation?
I don't think so.
Why?
I think, well, first of all, when you in LA, you better have your glamour on you. You feel me? I'm not mad at that.
This is real.
You know, especially when you in the hills, man. It gets real tricky out here. And we don't know the full story yet. So I was thinking, you know, maybe it was like someone trying to do a home robbery, you feel me? And some altercation happened in between that.
But see, that's what I was thinking, but then a lot of different things come together. When I read Meg's statement, it just doesn't sound like it was a robbery. It sounds like she would have mentioned that it was a robbery if that's what happened. And then when you see Meg's friend or producer or whatever tweeting at Tory and then immediately deleting it, you start to wonder, like, well, Meg doesn't seem like she's publicly acting angry at Tory, but then you see someone who's like on her team privately acting angry at him. I don't know how to make sense of this. It kind of sounds like Tory might not be all in the right here.
It made me think that somebody probably was after Tory and, you know, she got inflicted because of that. That's why I think the producer got mad and he deleted it, because if you're blaming somebody, I don't think you're going to delete that.
Like maybe Tory, through a situation that he was involved in, then somebody on her team ended up basically feeling like he put her in a position of danger by her even being around for that.
That's what I think.
I mean, my thing though is like, you've told me in the past, you said, Adam, we need to protect our black queens. When I saw Meg Thee Stallion getting arrested in a bikini, I was like, okay, AD has a point. We definitely need to protect Meg Thee Stallion. Why is she even in this situation? I don't like seeing her in that position. She is on the status of one of the most elite figures in the rap game. How is she even ending up in this position? I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it one bit. And Tory Lanez, I kind of think that it's going to be a weird couple of weeks for us. I don't know how long it's going to take for us to find out more details about what happened in this situation, but I don't know. It seems odd to me.
It is weird. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, no, I was listening. My girl, she keeps listening to this one Meg Thee Stallion song, and it's like the boys in the hood is always hard.
The Easy E, yeah, that was hard.
Maybe she's getting a little gangster. Maybe she's out here in these streets
man,
more than we thought, man.
She in the LA streets, man. I like it.
Okay, next story. Nick Cannon's recent interview with Professor Griff on his podcast, Cannon's Class, went viral after he made anti-Semitic comments, which included calling white people closer to animals and barbaric. Because of his comments, Nick was canceled on Twitter. One user, Adam Ford, started the cancellation, writing, Nick Cannon says white people are a little less closer to animals, the true savages, and acting out of a deficiency, so the only way that they act is evil. When does he get canceled? ViacomCBS seemed to agree with canceling Nick as a spokesperson for ViacomCBS released a statement to Variety announcing the company terminating the relationship with Nick, stating, ViacomCBS condemns bigotry of any kind and we categorically denounce all forms of anti-Semitism. We have spoken with Nick Cannon about an episode of his podcast, Cannon's Class, on YouTube, which promoted hateful speech and spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick had failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism, and we are terminating our relationship with him. After Diddy caught wind of the news that ViacomCBS had dropped Nick, Diddy invited him to join Revolt TV, tweeting out, Nick, come home to Revolt TV, truly black owned, we got your back and love you and what you have done for the culture. We are for our people first, for us, by us. Let's go. Okay, let me tell you, yesterday I'm on my computer, I'm watching the Nick Cannon and Professor Griff podcast because, you know, I've always heard a lot of these sort of conspiracy theories, black Israelite arguments and stuff, and I never really like fully took the time to really dig into them and try to like fact check different arguments that are being made. I used to have these dudes standing outside my apartment in Koreatown screaming about the white devils all the time, but I never really fully took the time to really dig in. I kind of feel like Nick Cannon might have been in a similar situation where when I was watching the podcast, which, oh, by the way, this is why I said it, is because it got taken down by YouTube while I was in the middle of watching it for hate speech. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that this is an important historical document, their conversation that he was having with Professor Griff. Regardless, I don't like the idea that this was taken down by YouTube, but I do think that Nick Cannon was maybe just sort of repeating a lot of theories that he had heard that maybe he hadn't done his due diligence to find out if he actually agreed with. Because when I saw how Nick Cannon was so quick to pivot into basically apologizing, like we didn't specify all this, but he's apparently had a lot of conversations with different rabbis, members of the Jewish community, and he seems to think that he was speaking out of turn and that he doesn't really agree with the stuff that he was initially saying there, which is interesting because Professor Griff has been very consistent with saying and repeating a lot of these conspiracy theories, if you will, over the past 30 years. So I'm wondering to what extent Professor Griff, I want to know what Professor Griff feels about Nick Cannon kind of turning his back on a lot of the arguments that he was making on this podcast.
I tell you what, I'm not watching Wildin' Out if Nick Cannon's not involved anymore. And I seen a picture. I don't know if it's real, but it had Ryan Seacrest. Like he's supposed to be the host or something. I hopefully that's a joke. I ain't watching that.
Oh hell no, they ain't giving it to Ryan Seacrest. No
I seen Ryan Seacrest
way.
this morning on a Wildin' Out sticker.
They're gonna give it to like Bosco before they give it to Ryan Seacrest, right? No, they're gonna give it to somebody with a little bit of credentials. But you know what? Part of the whole thing that has emerged from this is that Nick Cannon is now feeling a little bit regretful about the fact that he spent like 20 years or whatever building up a TV show. I think the longest running TV show on MTV, one of the longest running shows on TV, like it ain't been around as long as The Simpsons, but it's been around longer than damn near everything else. He put in all that time and effort for building up a huge brand, a huge property. Is owned by Viacom. They're not. He wants ownership back. They're not giving it to him. There's no way.
Nick Cannon is wilding out. You take him out of it, we ain't rocking with it.
But ViacomCBS, I guarantee, would way rather let the brand name fizzle up and die before they just hand it back over to him. There's no way. But this creates an important conversation, and that's what Diddy was trying to usher in there, is it is about ownership. Like Nick Cannon, I bet now wishes, like when he starts something, when he started the Cannon's Class podcast or whatever, he doesn't go partner with MTV to build this up the way that he did however many years ago when he started it. Like if he wants to start something, if you want to start something, if anybody wants to start something in this day and age, you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you go and partner with a giant multinational corporation, because they're going to take that shit from you the second that you espouse one controversial opinion.
Am I wrong for partnering with you?
Shit. You can say what you will about me, but at least I ain't Viacom, you know?
Hey, no, I fuck with it. I ain't going nowhere.
All I'm saying, though, is like, this is why if you are going to get into bed with a corporation, trust the second that you voice one controversial opinion, and I don't agree with the opinion that he was putting out there. I think that in reality, I actually believe Nick Cannon when he says that he feels like he was misguided now that he's had more education about the Jewish community and what it's really about. Some of the stuff that he was saying about the Rothschilds and stuff, it doesn't really hold up under a lot of scrutiny. But why would you want to partner up with a corporation when they're going to turn their back on you the second that you say anything controversial?
I agree with that.
Yeah, anyway, so I don't know if Revolt is a little too niche, a little too small for Nick Cannon to feel like it would be a good idea for him to link up with. I'm not sure if he maybe has bigger opportunities. It just came out today that he's actually taking a step back from his radio show. I think probably because he's scared that he's going to get canceled off of there too, and maybe
I enjoy listening to Nick Cannon on Power 106.
Nick Cannon is a big part of the culture. Even in the past couple of years, he's made like giant strides in terms of making himself more and more a part of what the overall conversation is. I think that Nick Cannon should be allowed the privilege of being able to have a conversation publicly, even if he's wrong. And I don't agree with this. I mean, what happened to Nick Cannon in this podcast because of this podcast is exactly the thing that in the podcast he's talking to Professor Griff about, where this is what the corporations want to happen. They want to divide you up. They want to make it so that they can demonize you. And Professor Griff has been dealing with it for 30 years. I don't agree with his opinions, but I don't agree that he should be silenced by corporations for just being out there and voicing his opinions.
Man, Nick Cannon is he's one of those guys, man, that like, you know, we love seeing him on TV. We love Wildin' Out. You know what I mean? He was he was one of the youngest chairmen in Nickelodeon. Like, he did a lot of business with Viacom. So for them to not have his back, it's just messed up.
Yeah, to me, I think that any person, any black person in particular, who is thinking about partnering up with a giant TV network, whatever, just keep in mind that they are only going to partner with you and they're only going to work with you as long as you're saying the right things. And as soon as you start saying the wrong things, and again, I'm saying this as somebody who I disagree with the stuff that Nick Cannon was talking about. I don't think a lot of these conspiracy theories really hold much weight, but be careful who you partner up with because they're not going to hold you down once the real powers that be start coming down.
Nick, partner up with Diddy. Go Revolt, man.
Nick, come to No Jumper.
Yeah, come to No
Jumper. We will give you a podcast or at least do an interview. Maybe you'll like it around here. Maybe we'll take care of the ants. You'll feel comfortable. We can build them a little dressing room over here.
Just don't replace me, please, Nick.
Yeah, well, hey, he's pretty smooth on camera. I don't know. And Nick Cannon don't gangbang, right? He might be a little less of a liability than you. I don't know. YouTube, hopefully you enjoyed this here video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you go follow AD because I told him if he gets to 153K by the end of the day, he's got to give me $10,000.
Shit.